Hi everybody, I'm Bob and this is Baka Bonsai. Today I'm going to show you how I made this from this. I picked up this Dwarf Alberta Spruce at a local big box store after the holidays. They were marked down. I think I picked it up for around $5 and it was originally like $16.95, something like that. I did repot it already. It came in a plastic pot. I wanted to dig down the dirt and find the root base. I could probably go a little bit deeper, but all the loose dirt came off and I can feel roots like right just below all this like fine roots, and I don't want to do too much root damage just yet. But the tree looks pretty healthy. It's got lots of buds on it. It's not a bright green, but it looks like a healthy green. And I like on the inside that it had 2 trunks. I think what I'm going to do first is just thin it out. Just to show some of the things I'm doing to clear this out. I'm going in here and just like pulling off the needles that are coming right off of the trunk. And then like right up here, we got a lot of like just little branches. So I'm clearing those out. So I'm not doing anything major structurally. I'm just cleaning it up so I can get a better idea of what I've got to work with. Okay, so here's where I'm at so far. Getting a much better idea of what's inside this tree. I've still got a lot of work to go. You can definitely see this branch structure starting to get up into the upper part. You can see up in there, and yeah, I really like the split trunk. Most of the ones that I've seen, they just do a single trunk, but I'm glad I didn't just go in and lop it off to begin with. Anyway, I'm going to continue clearing out. I'm just pulling these needles off of the lower branches, or the lower part of the branches. Occasionally I'll come across a branch where there's a piece sticking straight up, and I'm cutting those off. Or if there's just a little tiny, just nothing branch, I'm clipping those off too. But I'm trying to avoid any major structural changes. Sometimes it gets a little tempting to go in there and get aggressive, but I really want to see what I've got before I start chopping. Because they always say you can't put it back on once you take it off. So as I was thinning this out, I started thinking that I had to explain what I'm thinning. When I've watched other videos from other bonsai people, they always talk about picking off the like second year needles, and the way that the pine grows, these buds are going to be new growth. So next year these needles here will be second year needles, but then this was new growth last year, and that means that anything on this branch was second year growth, or currently is second year growth. So what I'm doing is I'm thinning that out. I'm pulling those off and then leaving these for now, and then next year, if this branch still exists, then I'll be pulling these needles off and leaving the needles that come off of these buds. So I continued this process all the way up the tree until I ended up with this. Now this branch here, I'm going to leave for now. I'll probably cut it off later, but I'm going to use it right now as a sacrificial branch to thicken up the trunk. The smaller trunk also has some low branches that I can use as sacrificial branches to thicken it up as well. Before I start wiring, I need to find a front to the tree. I want to make sure that I can see both of the trunks, and so I'm going to spin the tree around, take a look at it, and see what I've got to work with. I decided to change the angle of the trunks, so I temporarily put a wedge underneath the pot in order to replicate that angle change. I like this angle, so I'm going to keep this angle in mind. Yeah, you know, I think I like this because I'll cut that top off, and then I'll cut this top off, and we'll use that little spindle right there as the apex of the tree. But yeah, I kind of like that because it's still that the secondary branch is coming towards the viewer. I'll get a better stick to mark it, but for now I'll just put that as to mark the front. Okay, so we're looking at the front of the tree. I did a quick repositioning in the same pot. I didn't repot it. So I guess the first thing I'll do from here is start wiring these branches down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is look through here and see if there are any branches that are just obnoxiously wrong, and then I'll remove those before I start wiring. That way I'm not wiring stuff that I'm going to just lop off. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for like handlebar branches. So I've got, here's a good example. I've actually got 3 coming out of the same spot here. Got this one in the front, and I've got these 2. Definitely want to remove this one because it's obscuring the view of the trunk. You want the trunk to show on your front view. So there we go. And then still got to decide between these 2 here. Just not sure yet. You know, I am. I'm going to lose this one because we've got this one here, then this one here. So staggered and then up there. So I don't know though. It's a nice healthy branch. I'm going to lose this one. And wow. Let's move on up. So this one's growing straight at me. I'm going to lose it. Over on this side, this one's growing straight at me. And so it's, well, I'm losing a lot of inside. Right, so let me go with this one. I'll lose that little one here. Got a whole cluster of branches right in here. A cluster of branches or a whorl, if left alone, will result in swelling of the trunk in that location, and you can see already that there's some swelling, but if left unchecked, you'll end up with a reverse taper, which is undesirable. Yeah, I want to keep those. Lose that one, I guess. This one. Here we got left, right, left, right, left, right. Lose that little one. Got a back branch. That could be my apex. Yeah, go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece off here. I'll wire that up and make that the apex of the small tree, one of those two. Okay, so at this point, I think I need to at least wire the bottom branches, maybe the bottom half, and then I can get an idea of what the top's gonna need to do with the bottom. Okay, so I grabbed a piece of my repurposed or reused wire. I'm not making any money off of my bonsai habit yet, so I can't afford to buy fresh wire every time. So it is probably a good idea if you get a tree where you really like it. You don't want to break branches off when you're removing the wire, which I've done. It can be frustrating, but at the same time, wire's expensive, so especially when you've got a tree like this, it's $4. It's not like you've got a lot invested into it. I'm wiring in between the branches. Try not to get any of the needles in underneath the wire. Generally, if you're bending a branch down, I believe you want to come over the top of the wire. But somehow the way I did this is not working out that way. And I think it's just for aesthetic purposes, but you always want to end with your wire pointed downward. I don't think it really matters from the effectiveness of your wires. Just looks better. When wiring a branch, I always wrap it around the trunk and then get it started on one of the branches just to anchor it. And then once I've got a turn or two on that branch, then I will swing it back around and work on the other branch. And that gives some leverage to the wire and makes it easier to wrap around the branch. I use my thumb and forefinger to support delicate branches when I'm wiring. Once I have a branch completely wired, then I can go back to the initial branch and complete the wiring on it. Okay, so that's where I'm at so far. But now those lower branches are down and kind of out of the way, and then that gives me an opportunity to kind of see what I need to do with the upper branches, which ones I can lose, which ones I can't. So as I'm wiring, I'm bending the branches. So I'm working from the bottom of the tree to the top of the tree, and then I'll periodically step back and adjust any branches that I've already moved that I feel like need to be in a different position. As I work towards the top, I'm looking for additional branches that can be thinned out, trying to decide whether branches should be, pointing forward, backwards, off to the side. Now's the time to lop off the large apex branch that's sticking up at the top of the tree, and then I'll use one of the smaller branches on the side. I'll wire it straight up so that it's more delicate and it adds to the taper of the trunk, so the trunk's wider at the bottom and smaller at the top. Okay, so now we've got the semi-finished tree. I need to do some fine detail work on it, try to improve the pads. So instead of having these branches hang down, I want to bring them towards the center branch and then curve them out. That'll create a nice pad. Here's another example. Bring them in towards the center branch and then out, and then you curve the tip of the branch up, because in nature the older branches, the ends of the branches want to reach up to the sun, so the snow and the age and the weight of the branch brings it down, but then the tips curve up. So here again, I'm bringing in towards the center of the branch, or towards the center branch, and then curving it out. This detail work will help to refine the branches and turn this into a pad with a flat bottom as opposed to just some drooping branches. And that's more what you expect to see in a traditional bonsai. So that's going to be my next step. I'm going to turn off the camera, do the wiring, and I'll bring it back on to see what it looks like. All right, so this is the final product, and I'm really happy with it. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I've got additional Dwarf Alberta Spruce videos that are going to be coming out really soon. And I've got some other material that I'm going to be releasing as soon as I can get them edited. So thanks for watching Baka no Bonsai.